Now, in this video, let's take a look at how we can add sound effects to our video. Another term is called spotting. So that's where you spot the audio to the video. So this means where you're going to find an area in the video that needs a sound to accompany it, and then you drop the sound in there so it matches up with what you're seeing with the audio side. So in the past videos where we were looking at composing, this video is going to focus more on the sound design aspect. And it's really a nice area to hone your skills and get involved with audio to media. To show you where I want to add the sound effects, let's first play through the video. So I'll go back to the beginning and play back. So where there's that movement over there, I want to add a sound effect to accompany that. That's about bar 3. And there's another here. So around about bar 7. So what I think is going to work quite well is a sort of whoosh effect. So as it goes, there goes whoosh. So it enhances that change in the video. And I've got a collection of sound effects that I've built up over the years that I regularly use in my projects. I've added this into my pool. So if I just bring up the pool, I've got 2 whoosh effects and then a crash swell. So let me show you how to use these. I'm just going to first create an audio track. This is going to be my first whoosh. And I'm going to make it a stereo track. And bring up the pool again. And I'm going to drag in this whoosh effect here. And as you can see, it has a few different whooshes in it. And I want to use 2 different ones for the 2 different movements in the video. So it creates some interest not using the same sound effect each time. So first find the area where the movement is. So that's there. And with this audio effect, I'm going to go to where it starts. Round about there. Make this video smaller. There we go. And I want this last effect here. So I'm just going to turn off snapping. And move this. So what I want to do is the highest point of the transient, I want to match up with the finished movement. So round about there. And it looks good. We got there. Yeah. So taking a listen to just the sound effect and the video. Can be shorter, it doesn't need that tail. I can just neaten things up by adding in some fade ins and fade outs. And in the second one, where is that? Right over there. So here's the end. And for this, I want to use a different section of that whoosh. So if I just scroll back, I've got these different whooshes here. And for the last one, I want that one of that bigger transients over there. So that. And let's see the movement. So I'm just going to scrub through slowly and find that last bit there. Then I can drag that in. So let's see if that matches up. That tail can actually go on longer. So you just want to sort of match up that transient shape as it whooshes in and then tails off. And maybe to make those whooshes sound a bit more grander, let's send that to the reverb that we set up in the last video. Enable it and hear back. Maybe a bit more reverb there. Drag it up. Yeah, and then the last one. So that's okay. If we hear it in the context with the music now. And the next one. Now let's add some other sound effects and just layer them together. As you can see, we've built up layering in previous tracks to enhance their audio experience, matching the visual, and the same goes when working with sound effects. So I'm going to add another audio track. Let's call this Whoosh 2. Now the second whoosh that I want to use is a bit of a faster whoosh and a bit less roomy, and it's going to match up nicely with this. So open up my pool again. The second whoosh. I'm just going to zoom up. So the key is really just making sure that your track is big enough and that you're zooming in. And always reference your video as well. So it whooshes right there. That actually looks like it fits quite nicely if I just had to play that in. So let's just solo those two tracks. I'm actually going to move my video to the other side to see what it looks like. Tweak it slightly, just pulling it in. You can see that's more of like a whoosh. Check again, so that want that to start right about there. So I think it should work. The volume seems a bit loud, so I'm going to turn down the volume so it sits better with that other track, and then also add in a reverb. Bring that volume up when listening to the two together. And that reverb seems a bit much, so I'm going to pull it down. And for this, I'm simply just going to copy that same whoosh to the other one. So these two whooshes are different, but these are the same. But it's still going to feel like it's a different sound because of the one being different. So that sharper sound with that more deeper sound mixed together actually works quite nicely together. One more effect that I actually really like adding in are crash swells. So I'm going to add in one last audio track. Call this crash swell. Open the pool. Now pull this crash swell in. As you can see, it's a bit of a crescendo. Then there's the big crash swell hits, and then it tails off. Just to give you an idea of the sound, this is what it sounds like. And I find combining these with other types of sound effects, so you've got your literal sound effect where this is a whoosh, and then this is actually an instrument sound. The two together work really well. The volume doesn't need to be as loud, so I'm going to pull that down. And then let's mix these together and see what they should sound like. Obviously, having a bit of a fade in and a fade out is going to help. Same with this track. I didn't really add that in. Just quickly go back and do it to that whoosh. So we've got some smoother in and out points. And now we're going to compare these. So you're still looking for your highest transients to match up with the video. It's a bit early, so I'm going to pull that in. Okay, that works there for that one. And let's copy it across and see where it works for this. Pull it a bit forward, that was a bit late. Maybe just a little bit too early there now. And now with those other two sound effects. Also, just to improve that tail, let's send that to the reverb. Yeah, that's sounding good. And one last thing that really helps on Whoosh 2, I want to add a ping pong delay. So it's going to have this delayed signal bouncing around the left and right speakers, just adding some extra interest to the sound effect that's going to accompany that. So let's go to the inserts on Whoosh 2. add a ping pong delay. And then for this, let's filter out the lows, take it off syncing, and maybe have a delay of about 120 milliseconds. Drop the feedback. We don't want too many feedback delays. Increase the dry wet mix and make it more spatial. So hearing just that whoosh with the ping pong delay. So this is it without. And then now with the ping pong delay. Just a slight bit of interest there with the time-based delay effect. And now with the other two sound effects. Okay, so now you've got an idea of the sound effects that we've synced or spotted into the video. But now, hearing it in the context with the music that we already have, take a listen here. So watch the video while we hit these two sections and see how these sound effects enhance the experience with the music and the video. That's working well. What I found is that the tails are cutting off too short. So what we really can do is just increase these tails on these sounds, have a bit more of a fade out, just so it's not as drastic and feels a bit smoother. Just zooming in to get a better idea of what we're doing with the edits. So now with longer tail, I find that taking a listen again, the crash swell can come down. So having a collection of sound effects at your disposal can really help from the sound design aspect of working to a video when you need to take some audio effects and sync them to the video to add to the experience. And it does take a bit of time getting used to what type of sound effects that you use in your productions. For example, I remember reading up once that a sound designer needed to create a rocket sound and they had to use a leaf blower sound effect combined with a toaster and some white noise. And taking those collection of sounds together and bundling them up created the desired sound effect that they needed to match the video. So it does take some experimentation, but it's a lot of fun to really do. And it's a good tool to hone in on where you can learn how to take a sound effect and get it to match with the visual. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that the sound effects definitely enhance the experience. They don't have to be too large. You can actually drop them quite a bit down in the mix. But having them in with your music composition really gives a very good experience. So now that you know how to spot or add sound effects into your Cubase project to match up with the video, next up, let's take a look at how we can use some transition effects when going from one video, one scene to another. Catch you in the next video.